Hi, this is Daisy from Gephardt Daily, and today we are talking to Melissa Leilani Larson, a well-known playwright in Salt Lake City. And Plan B's next show is the world premiere of your new work, which is called Mestiza or Mixed. And it's at the Rose Wagner Theatre, June 9th through 19th, and then streaming June 15th through 19th. So I was wondering, Melissa, this play is quite deeply personal, it seems like, to you. And I was curious about why now felt like the right time to write it.
It's a great question. I feel like it is very personal. It's not, I don't know that I'd go so far as to say it's autobiographical, but there's definitely some elements in it that are. And it's one of those things that I've thought about all of my life because my heritage is a big part of who I am. My mom is from the Philippines and my dad is from Vegas, from Southern Utah, but he went to high school in Vegas. And so it's part of who I am and what my family is and who my family is. And I guess I just never really thought about representation for myself in the way that I think about it when we talk about race. It's like I've always kind of felt in between things. And it's like, am I Asian enough to say, oh, hey, I'm Asian, I deserve representation, when people look at me and they don't know that I'm Asian unless I tell them. So I think this has been percolating for a really long time. And I guess it's coming out now because Jerry and Plan B are so supportive of this kind of thing. And I had a conversation with Jerry the summer of 2020 at the beginning of the pandemic that kind of, I had a situation and Jerry says, well, you should write about it. And then that became eventually this play.
And what was the development like?
Well, it's kind of new play development. The past couple of years has been a funky thing. It's made me very grateful for Zoom, which is why I kind of wonder how I never thought, oh, I can get friends together who are actors from across the country and we can read a play on Zoom. Why did we never do that before? It just takes a near, world crashing to a halt event for us to figure out, oh, we can do this. I wrote the script and we had a reading in the Plan B lab, of which I'm a member, where several playwrights from around Salt Lake, we get together like once a month and hear each other's work and respond to it, which is just a really great opportunity. So I did a reading with them. I also have been doing readings with friends during COVID times on Zoom. And so I also got some responses from other people. So it's been a lot of writing and revising virtually. And I'm actually really excited to go to rehearsal in a couple weeks because that's weird. Yeah. To go to a rehearsal in person. I don't know if I remember how to do that.
Are you going to be in the room much during rehearsals? Do you know yet?
I'm going to be in the room basically for the first week of rehearsal. And then I'm actually going out of town. And when I come back, it's going to be in tech, which is exciting.
And I was wondering as well, is it harder to let a play like this that is very personal to you, is it harder to let it go out into the world than some of your other plays, perhaps?
I would say they're all pretty hard to let go. I am nervous about this one from the personal aspect. I am a little nervous to see, because you're always putting a little bit of your soul in your work and you don't know how people are going to react to that. Mm-hmm. And in this case, it's like a bigger piece than usual. So I am, nervous, but I trust Jerry implicitly as an artist and as a person of color. And I feel like we have a really great cast. So I'm excited to see how it goes. And I hope that people will just be open to the story we're trying to tell.
And are you one of those playwrights that when you're in the room for rehearsals and stuff, are you quite comfortable with like, rewriting a line or something like that? Or is it fairly kind of, you have the play now and you want it to be, is on the page now?
It's a little bit of both, which is a cop-out answer, but I love being in the room. I love listening to the play come to life. I love being in rehearsal and watching actors take what you give them and do it in a way you weren't expecting. And I go, oh, hey, that's great. That's better now. But I am totally open to being in the process. If we run into hiccups and I go, oh, that's my fault. It is in the writing of the line and not in the delivery of the line, and I'll fix it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do like to do that. It's one of the nice things about being in the room.
Yeah, for sure. And with a world premiere, I guess.
Yes, yeah, definitely, because it hasn't been done anywhere before. So fingers crossed.
And what was the pandemic like for you? Was it was it quite intense? Did you get a lot of work done and stuff, or was it
actually? I did get a lot of work done. It was hard because I did have shows that were supposed to happen that didn't happen. Like there was a lot of theater kind of grinded to a stop, which was really hard to both see and to experience. And it was a difficult time, but I love to go and see other people's work, and I love to experience theater, and that influences me as an artist. And so I missed going. But as far as like, I am a homebody in a lot of ways, that I am not necessarily a super social person. So it wasn't hard for me to go, oh, I need to go home and write. And if you go home and write because you can't do anything else, you might as well take advantage of that. So I was actually very productive. I tried to be very productive. I wrote this play. I wrote another play, a comedy that we also read in the lab at Plan B, which is a completely different show than this one is. And I've been sending that around places. So hopefully something happens with that. But yeah, I wrote at least 2 full-length plays. I did a radio play, a short radio play for Plan B, and a couple of other things that I got started. So I did try to use the time because we had it.
I was also super curious with you because I was reading your bio and just how many plays you've written. And I was sort of curious about like the gap between plays for you. Do you actively seek the next subject matter, or do you kind of find it just comes to you naturally, or is it like a combination of the two?
It's a combination, and I usually try to have something because a lot of companies, while there are a lot of companies that support new work out there in the world, they are often trying to, might be a little more prestige for them when they're doing a world premiere. So I feel like there are a lot of opportunities for playwrights to submit things, but they are asking for it to be the first time it's been produced anywhere. And so you kind of have to always be working on something new so you can send something new out. And I feel like that it kind of goes in waves, submissions and rejections and submissions and rejections. And so you kind of have to always have something going on. It's also kind of how I personally beat back the idea of writer's block. I feel like sometimes if you're writing something really intensely and you get stuck, and you do get stuck, the worst thing you can do is stop writing and say, oh, I have a block. For me, the best thing I can do is work on something else and hope it shakes something loose and I can come back to the thing that's stuck. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Do you have any advice for any kind of fledgling playwrights that want to get into the field?
You just write all the time. You just write a lot all the time, get used to throwing things out and listen to people. I think a really big, important part of playwriting is voice. You have to listen to how people talk and how they communicate. And because you're trying to translate that to the stage. And so you want it to feel natural and real, but you also have to get used to compressing things down. So it's almost exactly how people talk.
Yeah, and I did really feel that with this play, that the dialogue, it felt very easy to read. The dialogue felt very natural and it flowed,
great.
really
Thank
nicely.
You. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but I was also going to just ask you a totally random question, which is like, if you could pick, say, like 2 or 3 playwrights, living or dead, to have dinner with, who would you pick?
Oh, do I have to have dinner with them? I get so nervous.
No, you don't have to have dinner with them. You could do something else with them. What would you do, and what playwrights would you do it with?
Well, my personal favorite playwright, who I admire very much, is a British playwright. Her name is Helen Edmondson, and she is known for her. She's done a couple of really great adaptations of classics. She has a really powerful version of George Eliot's The Mill and the Floss, which I saw in Study Abroad X number of years ago, and it really changed my life in a lot of ways. Like, I think I was a very new playwright at the time. I had studied to be a novelist, and I had just switched over to playwriting, and seeing that play was a very physical, vulnerable show. And that was the first time I really understood as an audience member what theatricality was, and how theater is different as a medium than film and then novels. And I feel that in a lot of her work. She's a very prolific playwright in the UK, and I really appreciate what she does, both with her original pieces as well as her adaptations. I'm a big fan of Adrienne Kennedy. I love her plays. I feel like they're very visceral and poetic, and very relatable, in that she says very important things. She has passed away. So I think, oh dear, did I just say that Adrienne Kennedy has died when she hasn't? That would be bad news, wouldn't it?
We'll find out.
We'll find out. But I enjoy, those are two playwrights their work that I enjoy very much.
But you wouldn't go to dinner with them. You might do something else.
We can go to dinner. I just get really nervous. Like, being nervous is my natural state of being. Like, I actually really love dinner, and I love food. And people will say, hey, let's go to dinner before your opening night. And I say, can we go on another night other than opening night? Because I just am so nervous that I can't enjoy dinner. But I mean, if we could have dinner with Adrienne Kennedy, I could enjoy dinner.
I was just going to say as well, where would you take them in Salt Lake? Like, what's your favorite restaurant?
Oh gosh. I love, oh wow. Oh, there's so many good choices. Oh, what do I choose? I love sushi. Could do with some really great sushi. Takahashi. It's really great. Yeah, that's good stuff.
And what's next for you, Mel? What are you moving on to after this one?
Well, I'm hoping to do something fun with a comedy. It's called Gin Mummy. It's a love letter to Oscar Wilde.
Oh, I love it.
It's a Victorian comedy, but it deals with some contemporary issues. There's some queer characters in it, but it's also got some real farcical stuff going on. So I'm hoping to see that show on its feet. Hopefully here locally. That would be great. And I'm working on another play about a Filipino character. It's dealing with an art forgery scandal. So I'm hoping something cool will happen with that. It's very, very, very early stages. We're going to have a reading of that in the Plan B lab in the next few weeks, actually. So it's the very beginning of the process.
Mm-hmm. And just to recap on dates for the next show, it's in person June 9th through 19th, and then streaming June 15th through 19th for those that maybe are not able to see it in person. And for tickets, it's saltlakecountyarts.org or the Arctics number, which is 801-355-ARTS. Is there anything else that we should know about it?
I am really excited for people to see it, and I hope that they will come and see it and support Plan B, who is one of the only theaters that really in the country that supports local work by local writers. So come and see the show.
Love it.